History is the passport which allows us to travel back in time. Through it, we can experience more in our daily lives than we ever thought possible. The Arcane, Trouveurs, Into the Abyss. Chapter 5, The Truth Uncovered. Written and performed by Brett Walker. It's been 3 days since my encounter with the woman on the train. Her message was cryptic enough to stick in my brain and rattle around for the last few days. I wonder how someone with a logical brain would have interpreted this encounter. Weirdo in a mask on a train? Not my problem. Is probably the response a normal person would have had. They wouldn't have engaged with them. They would have given the book back, especially after probably being drugged up with some weird perfume spray thing. I'm starting to see a pattern here. I like to chase people and things into really weird locations. If this were a horror movie, I would be the dumb bitch everybody yells at not to go into the basement at 1 a.m. after hearing some ominous voice whisper, "Get out," in the background. Well, this dumb bitch has backup, so hopefully 3 idiots are better than 1. Not too sure Elle would appreciate me calling her an idiot. Mishmeh. Aside from creepy train encounters, we have successfully made it to Marseille. There should be no more library rats, raven-masked creeps in catacombs, or train station chases. At least, I hope not. The next 2 weeks will pretty much be the exact same as they were in London. Week 1 will be a mix of study and guest lecturers. Week 2 will be more focused on artifact handling, guest lecturing, and compiling our data to help build this model that the computer team is working on. Frankly, I don't envy their job. They need to take a lot of data which has no statistical or mathematical meaning to it and figure out how to fit it into a computer model of diseases spreading. It's impressive to say the least. I didn't think this was important news to report on in an earlier recording, but Dr. Admonson is sick. I didn't think anything of it before, but I can't help but wonder, is the rodent bite and her sudden illness somehow connected? She complained on the train ride to Marseille about a headache and feeling fatigue. Then today she's complaining about feeling feverish and having difficulty swallowing. We have been traveling a lot, and travel tends to put a strain on the immune system. At least that's what Will told me. So he told me not to worry about it and focus on my work, which I am. So in the interest of science and history, I will now give a detailed report on the symptoms associated with the bubonic plague. Again, for science. The first most common symptom people will experience is fever and chills. Don't know about chills, but she definitely has a fever, so check mark. As the disease progresses, patients will begin to experience extreme weakness. Well, she didn't complain about feeling weak. She actually didn't want to be on bed rest today. Dr. Boyd just forced her into taking the day off to feel better. So, hesitant checkmark on that one. Some patients infected with Yersinia pestis will begin to experience swollen lymph nodes. The lymph nodes in the neck, armpit, and/or groin can swell to the size of chicken eggs. I'm gonna place another hesitant checkmark on this one. I don't feel like invading anybody's personal space to find this out. Eventually, as the bacteria spreads throughout the body, patients will experience bleeding in the nose, mouth, and/or underneath the skin. If left untreated, patients will develop acral necrosis, which usually begins in extremities like the toes, fingers, and nose. This will lead to shock and eventual death. And now for the treatments of the plague. If detected early, patients with the plague are given a strong course of antibiotics. After 2 to 3 weeks of treatment, patients will be fully recovered. Most people that seek treatment do not die from the plague. Common antibiotics used for the treatment are, Jesus Christ. Ciprofloxacin? Yeah, that sounds right. All right, moving on. Doxycycline, gentamicin, and levofloxacin. There you have it. No need to fear the plague. Modern medicine can easily fix you up before you reach acral necrosis. After reading these symptoms, maybe it's more likely that Dr. Admonson has a cold, or a flu, or maybe even strep throat. Hell, maybe she went to make out with somebody and wait a minute. I think she's married with kids. The point being, unless she shows signs of extreme weakness or other plague-like symptoms, we must not fear the worst. Because fear leads us to do crazy things. Just like how the entire country of Canada turned against a community during the SARS outbreak. Should something like SARS happen again, I hope this system can help catch it and predict its spread fast enough. I also hope Canadians can live up to their reputation of being friendly and not repeat the racist actions of the past. Dr. Cole has reviewed the recordings and he's not happy. At all. Now, I'm not sure if he heard rat attack, catacomb creeper, or the train car chase down, but he sent a very long email. It was kind of a too long didn't read type of email. All I got from it was a sense of, less talking about you, Will, and L, and more about... I can't do accents. Less about you and more about the research and things you are learning. Never do Dr. Cole's voice, Colin. In the interest of keeping my spot on this trip and getting good reference letters from Admonson, Boyd, and Cole, here are some fun facts about the Plague of Marseille and how the city dealt with it. The Great Plague of Marseille began roughly in 1720 and killed nearly 100,000 people. The city of Marseille alone lost over 50,000 people. Over the next 2 years, affected cities and towns in the surrounding area lost nearly 50,000 people combined. While the economy only took a few short years to recover, the population of the area did not recover and returned to its pre-1720 level until 1765. Once the plague broke out into the city proper, people began to panic and spread misinformation about the plague, its symptoms, and its supposed treatments. Eventually, hospitals became so overrun with the sick, people fled the city before it became quarantined. Some accounts of the outbreak detail families abandoning ill family members regardless of their disease, leaving them alone to die in the streets. Before the events of 1720, there was a smaller outbreak in 1580. At the end of the outbreak, the city of Marseille took drastic measures to ensure that the city would be better prepared for the next outbreak of the plague. Spoiler alert, it kinda didn't help, but it kinda did. The city council created a sanitation board whose members were composed of other city council members and highly respected doctors from the city. The founding date of the Board of Sanitation is unknown, but the first recorded mention of it is in a Parliament of I text from 1622. The board helped develop the first public hospital, which was fully staffed with nurses and doctors. They also helped build better city infrastructure, as well as stop the spread of misinformation about the plague, and provide a public list of doctors that were believed to be credible. Now, the research said nothing about these doctors being recommended because they were contributing to the development of the field of science and medicine, or if they were just doctors that had influence and friends in high places. But it is nice to see that people in the 1600s were more productive in caring about their neighbors. When did capitalism fuck everything up? The Board of Sanitation also devised a strict quarantining process for all cargo or naval ships coming into the city's port. Step 1. All ships were to be examined by a physician. Should any signs of the disease be found, they would be turned away. Crew and their cargo would be barred from landing at any Marseille dock. Step 2. All incoming ships would need to submit their captain's log to a member of the Board of Sanitation present that day. The captain's log would be cross-examined with a master list of all cities throughout the Mediterranean that had been confirmed or rumored to have the plague. Step 3. Should a ship be free of the disease and not have come to dock at any city rumored or confirmed to have the plague, the crew members and the cargo would be quarantined on an offshore island. There, they would be held in lazarettos for almost 3 weeks. In most cases, ships were sent to Marseille's largest quarantining facility. Should a ship be suspected of having the plague through docking at a suspected or confirmed plague-ridden city, they would be quarantined for 50 to 60 days to see if they've developed any symptoms. While there was an eventual outbreak credited to a possible political corruption scandal as well as a combination of asymptomatic people, it is important to note that this system was effective for nearly 100 years. While most people nowadays would do something stupid, like bitch about needing a haircut, we can clearly see that at a time with less scientific and medical advancements as us, quarantining worked. Having transparency and traceability also worked to help stop and limit the spread of the disease. Think of it like not lying on your medical history form when you go to the doctors. If your grandfather died of cancer and your grandmother suffered a massive stroke, you would want to be transparent and tell your doctor. This way, they can trace your symptoms and family medical history and better manage your health. Pandemics are an exercise in not being a douche and being honest. Hopefully, this will help Dr. Admonson and her students with their model. Let's pray that during the next pandemic, people will be up for traceability, transparency, and quarantining as additional measures to not just saving yourself, but saving those around you. Oh, good afternoon, France. If you're wondering about this recording, it is strictly for me. Well, partially. Some of us decided to go on a small hike outside of the city. We wanted to be able to get a view of the entire city from the hilltops. The weather was beautiful, and Dr. Cole recommended we take this particular road for today's hike. The sun is shining, and for once, we're able to get away from it all, even if it's just for half a day. The reason I say partially is because I realize now why Dr. Cole chose this route for us. He wanted us to see for ourselves the effect of strict government control on diseases. If you travel outside the city of Marseille, you will see a stone wall acting as a city border. This stone wall is known as the quarantine wall. When the entire city was placed under quarantine, a wall was built so that people traveling from other provinces knew where the city limits began. This helped people stay out of the path of the disease and helped ultimately save a few more lives. Oh, damn it. Ugh. Why is this hill so steep? Oh, and why am I so out of shape? I mean, it's only been like 3 weeks since we left. Guess I need to do more cardio. Damn it, my lungs are on fire. The view of this city is breathtaking. It makes you realize how interconnected a place like this truly is. Somewhere along the way, we forgot about our neighbors. We forgot about how we are all in this shared experience together. And when something as devastating as a pandemic occurs, it exposes the racial disparities of the system that we white people built. People like Serena, Alden, Carl, and Will can easily become the victims of the division we keep building into our everyday lives. Maybe that's what the Arcane Trouveurs are trying to do. Prevent something cataclysmic from happening to the world and further tearing us apart. In the wall, there is a carving. If you listen to the previous recordings, you can already guess where I'm going with this. The carving is of a star in a circle. The exact same star that's on the Book of Shadows. Elle is being a good sister and she's distracting the others while Will is trying to remove the stone. I mean, I tried, but I failed. Seriously, what hand-finger strengthening exercises do you do to have such a strong grip? And don't say CrossFit because I swear to God you have to be doing more than just that. Oh, careful with that. You don't know how old that could be. Here. Put the envelope in here. Hopefully Starbook can protect the pages until we get back. Hey, Dr. Cole, I was actually What? I see. No, yeah, I get it, yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely inform the others. Is there anything else you need me to do? No, okay. Yeah, I got it. Hey, guys. Dr. Cole just called me. Dr. Amundsen was sent to the ER. She had difficulties breathing, and she started having massive chest pains. We need to head back. I was hoping to put all of this behind me. The notion of secret organizations is kind of crazy. But the nail in the coffin came when Elle found a propaganda poster before the 1720 outbreak of the plague. The poster depicts people dying in the streets at night and 2 plague doctors, or what I'm assuming to be doctors, trying to help them. They were carrying lanterns, and the shadows spelled out the poster's slogan: "The plague is coming. Be prepared." The stars in the night sky were all drawn the exact same way every fucking star related to this organization is drawn. I mean, come on. If my suspicions are correct, Dr. Cole will have the answers I need. Dr. Cole, we need to talk about everything. If you're listening to this, then that means you might be one of the Arcane Trouveurs. Dr. Cole explained to me how the book is a collection of arcane secrets gathered throughout the centuries. He originally transcribed the entire thing from Italian into Latin during his PhD. He thought it would help him practice, which, I mean, yeah, okay, fine, it did, but why be annoying about it? He suggested that I make my own copy of the book and keep it in a secure place. Apparently, the first book I found in the library, which set off this whole damn thing, was from his professor. The same thing which happened to me happened to Dr. Cole. My finding that note was no coincidence either. Dr. Cole placed that book on my pile so that I would come across it. He said he saw potential in me to become a great member of the order. He admitted he was hesitant about Eleanor joining, but she is proving to have the same keen eye as me, seeing as she was actually the one to find the carving in the stone and not me. I'll give credit where credit is due. William, on the other hand, was never supposed to be a part of this. But his involvement, accidental however it may be, will still result in his joining. He gave me more details on the contents of the book. The first section of the book discusses major disasters of the world and the various deities they are believed to be attributed to. The second part is all the information gathered about these elder gods. Section 3 of the book is just a few pages of geometric patterns, best left unsolved. He really stressed that one. I suck at math, so I guess I'll warn Will about that. The last few pages of the book detailed supposed shrine locations for each of the gods and the different members that have gone missing in search of them. If you look at this section, there was an entire research team from the US that went missing in the Antarctic. I guess my suspicions about last weekend were correct. The Arcane Trouveurs are not as evil as their masks would suggest. At least, I hope not. Because as I sit here recording this, there are 2 masks on my bed, each one with a label. Eleanor King and William Young. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Arcane Trouveurs. If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe to keep up to date on all the episodes we release this fall. And hey, thanks.